Welcome back, Video Creeps. What a fucking special day today is, because today's recommendation comes directly from one of you guys. I mentioned that in one of my last videos that you can actually start to purchase reviews. If you're getting tired of just waiting for me to review a movie that you really want to hear me talk about, you can just fucking pay me and I'll just do it. And Mr. Brandon Rhymes reached out to me to support the channel and to pick a review, and he really wanted us to go over the movie Shopping Mall. So let's go over this little 1986 classic, where shopping here cost you an arm and a leg. Now, this movie was originally called Killbots, but because it performed so poorly in the box office, they decided before they go to home video, they're gonna chop 19 minutes off this thing and rebrand it underneath a new name. Which I didn't even fucking know that you can do. Can you imagine going to watch Aladdin and fucking hating the shit out of it, and then seeing a random movie that looks like Aladdin, but it's called A Homeless Boy's Tale? So you pick that shit up and then you get duped twice? Someone out there bought fucking Killbots, hated it, and then bought Shopping Mall and was like, hey, I bet this is gonna be a lot better than that Killbots bullshit. But somehow this actually worked for the film. There was something about those 19 minutes that just didn't sit well with audiences. However, by cutting that off and rebranding it underneath a different name, people fuck with this movie.
I love you, bitch.
Oh my god.
I ain't gonna never stop loving you, bitch.
And Shopping Mall is such a fucking weird name for this film, because at no point amongst the myriad of fucking weapons and like the claws that these little fucking Killbots have, nobody and nothing gets chopped. Like, not one thing. Now, it was produced and overseen by Julie and Robert Corman, who are fucking heavy hitters in the game. They actually worked on films like Attack of the Crab Monsters, Dementia 13, and The Giant Leeches. So when watching this film, it's actually kind of fun to see that comparative. Now, the movie opens up right away. There's none of that silly bullshit that happens where, like, you watch 40 of the minutes and then you don't fucking see any of the monster. Fuck that. You see a fucking robot right away. The store is getting robbed. And then, oh shit, here comes Alpha 5 saying, fuck the Rangers. I got this one. Aye. As it would turn out, this is just a promotional video trying to support these security robots that will be taking care of the mall. Alpha 5s, if you will. Or as I like to call them, Alpha 10s. Because these motherfuckers are more sophisticated, for sure. But really, it doesn't matter what you call them. They all look like the fucking robots from GOG.
Built to serve man, its brain was an electronic miracle. It could think 1,000 times faster, kill 1,000 times faster. Then suddenly it became a Frankenstein of steel, out to destroy its makers.
Now, these robots are going to be protecting the upper 3 levels of the mall, and everybody is jazzed about it.
I don't know, Mary. The one in the middle has an unpleasantly ethnic quality.
What the fuck does that even mean? That joke did not age well. The tall man from Phantasm makes a cameo, and then this is when the robots are revealed.
What do your machines there do besides kill criminals?
Well, first of all, Doctor, the protectors do not kill.
I wonder if they kill cockroaches.
They could probably be programmed to.
By the way, I wasn't like fucking with you. That is actually the tall man from Phantasm. Work is work, even if they don't show your face. After this, we get the dopest fucking soundtrack I've ever heard in my life. And we get a cool little montage of the mall and all of the silly little hijinks that are going on in there. Not limited to fucking supermodels going all over the place and kids fucking skateboarding indoors. Doesn't this place have fucking security? Oh, I guess that's why there's the robots. Now, I could gripe about the zany, weird things that are happening in there, but really, I want to talk about the architecture. Now, this movie was shot in the Sherman Oaks Galleria Mall. And if this place looks familiar to you, it's probably because it is. This is the exact same mall that we see in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Terminator 2, Commando, and Valley Girl. The owner of the Galleria Mall was actually so jazzed and so into people filming in his mall that he would just let whoever wanted to film there overnight. He just got off on seeing his mall on the big screen. We learned that horror alumni Barbara Crampton is in this movie and she plays a waitress along with her friend Allison. And wherever the fuck they work is dope, alright? Because there's posters all over the wall for movies like Slumber Party Massacre, Galaxy of Terror, and Barbarian Queen. Also, the chef smokes while he cooks and does shit like this.
Would I set you up with a slime dog or something? No way, babe.
It is babe, isn't it?
Come on, take it while it's hot. Girls.
I mean, fuck it, I would have a plate of fries. But unfortunately, thunder strikes, hitting the main tower that connects to these fucking Alpha 10s, just fucking up their shit. We meet our guys Fergie, Greg, and Mike. And you can kind of see that there's a weird dynamic between these guys. Mike is kind of the fucking douchey, asshole kind of guy. Fucking Greg is the leader who groups them all together. And Ferdy is the fucking dork. And as much as you can see these tropes from a mile away, these guys are actually kind of fucking likable.
Look, guys, this party is gonna happen, but we need a little teamwork, okay? Besides, if the place looks like shit on Monday, it's all our asses. You got the beer?
Greg, come on. The fridge is packed.
All right, good. Rick and Lynn are bringing the food. Clean sheets are definitely waiting. And, Susie... Susie has a surprise for you.
Now we meet some other heavy hitters in the movie like Lindsay, who is Mike's love interest, and Rick and Lisa, who are friends of this group, but they just got married and shit. I have some fucking final thoughts about these two, cause Also, fuck this movie for having a Linda and a fucking Leslie in it, as if I'm not gonna fuck that up at some point. Now, the group has a plan to sneak into the mall and stay there overnight, so that way they can get drunk and just fuck all over the place. Meanwhile, Phil from Child's Play 2, or Bud from Chud 2, yeah, homie gets got. The party has started and Ferdy is in the bathroom trying to sex up his look, because homie is trying to cast out that worm when he gets his eyes on Allison.
Living on your own definitely has its perks. Shrink, because your mom doesn't tell you to turn down the stereo and junk like that, which is a real drag. Shrink, because moms are genetically programmed to hate music played at the appropriate level, right? And my dad, forget about it. Shrink. He can ruin a Led Zeppelin reunion concert, you know what I mean? Shrink, because he hates any music played at the appropriate level. Shrink.
Now, while love is on the prowl, so are the Alpha 10s. But our gang doesn't know that, so they're just commencing with the sexy time. And so another horror movie where we get to see Barbara Crampton's tits gets added to the scoreboard. This bitch really just loved showing off her titties in the 80s. Now, of course, Allison and Ferdy are not fucking. Meanwhile, literally everybody else is, in the same room. I bet that this is the kinkiest scenario that these two have ever even been in. But besides all the fucking going on around them, what's really interesting about this scene is that they're watching Attack of the Crab Monsters, which I think is a nice little nod. We see the dude from Gremlins overreacting because he has to do his fucking job.
Go ahead and laugh, you guys. But if I ever find little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Right.
Kind of an overreaction for a guy who seeked out that employment. But of course, even that was an empty threat because the killbots come through and fucking electrocute his ass.
I knew you bastards were gonna be trouble when I first brought you in here.
Oh shit, what if he survives and now that's why he sees gremlins? Dum dum dum. Now Leslie brokers a deal with Mike saying that if he goes out to feed her nicotine addiction, she will return the favor by feeding his titty addiction. But Mike runs into one of the Alpha 10s and quickly learns that having the proper identification doesn't mean shit. Now Leslie, looking for those cigarettes, goes out looking for Mike, but she herself runs into an Alpha 10. And this motherfucker starts shooting lasers at this bitch until eventually one connects and fucking explodes her head. And I gotta say, it's maybe one of the best head explosions I've ever seen. That is fucking sick. I had to rewind a couple times because I wanted to like indulge in it a couple. Now this leads to the Alpha 10s pursuing our kids. Or our fucking young adults. Like they're not teenagers. They all have jobs and shit. These are like fucking 21 to 25-year-old people. But we're gonna Scooby-Doo this shit and just refer to them as kids. Now the girls are able to escape through a vent, but the boys are still trapped inside running away from the killbots. And they're able to get away enough where they start devising a plan and decide, we need motherfucking weapons. So they duck into a sporting goods store.
How are we gonna get in?
Don't worry, I got the keys.
And to be completely honest with you guys, seeing these three fucking dudes like suit up essentially with their fucking shotgun shells and like them holding their, like it's a fucking dope scene. I dare you watch this and not immediately decide that you're moving into Hype Central, cause it's got the feels for days, son. And then the big moment comes where they finally run into a killbot and they're able to light its shit up and destroy it. Meanwhile, the girls have decided to exit the vent like fucking idiots, and they fall into a store where they decide that they're gonna arm themselves as well. However, we don't get like a sweet montage with them, which I think would have been fucking awesome. It was just a missed opportunity. But to be fair, we do get to see them making Molotov cocktails, and Allison scurries over where she picks up a little flare stick, but she hides it from everybody. She shoves it in her tits. So we absolutely know by this that that's gonna be a final act thing. Now the girls run into one of the killbots, and they throw one of these cocktails at it, and it does very little to it. And when I say very little, I mean like not a fucking thing. And this thing gets fucking pissed off and takes out its aggression on Barbara Crampton. Bye-bye. But the group continuing to be clever, they trap one in an elevator that has been rigged up with explosions, and they fucking shoot that shit. Specifically Allison somehow. She has acquired the ability to shoot because her father was in the military. I didn't know that skills were biological, but fucking whatever. But I will give it this, something that I did really like about that shot was that before they actually show them actually exploding it, it shows that they're all fucking garbage shots. But yeah, they explode it, the fucking elevator goes down, and they destroy one of the killbots. Now the party of 5 that's remaining goes all the way up to the 3rd floor so that way they can turn off the killbots. But very quickly, that party of 5 becomes a party of 4. Because that Alpha 10 takes Greg and just fucking yeets him from the fucking top floor down to the bottom.
Hey Terry, you want some? This bitch empty!
And the party of 4 is able to get away long enough for them to stockpile into like a Macy's or some shit. And this is when they get the idea to line up a bunch of mannequins so that way they can mix in with them and then just light the fucking Alpha 10 up. Now one of them actually shoots a mirror, making it shoot back at itself, electrocuting it in the moment, and starts going haywire and shooting lasers everywhere. And unfortunately, one of them hits Linda, who really has done nothing but be awesome, but again, I said I'll talk about it later. And then Rick, filled with fucking rage, charges at the Alpha 10 and simultaneously kills them both. Now Allison and Freddy somehow are our bottom two bitches, are the fucking khaki twins and shit. They head over to the control room, which, fun fact, is the only set in this entire movie. Everything else they actually used the actual mall for. The only reason that they had to build the control room was to make it all like future looking-y, you know? But unfortunately, while looking for the control panel, Allison runs into one of the killbots, and Freddy, trying to fucking protect his woman and shit, fucking doesn't. He dies. But fortunately, he does shoot the Alpha 10 right in the laser, making Allison able to get away momentarily, holding on the sides of a rail, just flexing that upper body strength shit. But eventually she falls to the bottom floor. Broken legs and all, she's able to crawl over to a paint shop where she starts opening cans and throwing turpentine all over the floor. She's able to get the attention of the last Alpha 10, and once it's in the store, in the mix of paint and turpentine, she takes out that flare stick and fucking big explosion, destroying the Alpha 10 and then giving us this beautiful shot. Oh yeah, fucking Freddy also is alive, and then the movie ends. Now, I've got a lot of really good to say about this movie, but before I can get there and feel okay about it, we're gonna talk about some of the weird, some of the bad, some of the nasty. And I'm gonna start with Allison and Freddy's relationship is bullshit. There just wasn't enough in this movie for me to give a fuck about them as a couple. We also didn't see too much of their budding romance. In fact, we see them argue, and at some point when they do, that kind of just overtakes the air of their relationship. I don't even give a shit when I find out that Freddy is still alive at the end of this thing. At the end of it, Freddy and Allison just weren't that likable. I think Linda and Rick were the far superior couple in this movie. And if I had my own way, they absolutely would have survived. The chemistry between these two characters is so believable. And I actually enjoyed watching them on screen every time that I saw them on screen. I just never got there with Freddy and Allison. I was not expecting them to be our final people. In fact, compared to all of the other characters in this movie, they are just the least likable. Mike is actually pretty fucking cool. Leslie, I guess, is kind of in the same camp. She's lowest on the totem pole for me. But Barbara Crampton's character was fucking awesome. Greg was really fucking cool. And then Rick and Linda were just a power couple. They were great. Also, super small gripe, but I kind of wish that Freddy was played by Rick Moranis. But that has less to do with his performance and more to do with, like, I just want Rick Moranis to play more characters. And I realize that there are things about this film that just really don't bear explanation. You don't really need it. And again, this is me totally just nitpicking, but like, the escalators, nothing in the fucking mall should work after a while. Yet when the killbots need to get on the escalator, they magically fucking work. That doesn't make sense. And it's easy just to write off this movie and say like, hey, why didn't they just fucking hide the whole time? And like, yeah, you could try and say like, yeah, they did try and hide in like the Macy's and the pizza shop and shit, but that's not fucking hiding. Let me tell you something. If I was being chased by Alpha 10s, me just sitting in the middle of a pizza shop would not be me considered it hiding. I would roll myself up in a fucking rug, I'd put myself in a closet, I would sleep like this until the whole thing's over and shit. That's hiding. Another thing, and it's my final gripe about this movie, is just the fucking mannequin scene. Yes, I get it, and I know I'm overthinking it at this point, but like, you don't think those motherfuckers have heat sensors and shit? That's how those motherfuckers are able to stop people in the mall in the first place. Like, that scene with the Alpha 10 really should have been like, scanning, oh shit, that's a person, kill that person, dope, next, you. But really, those are my big gripes about this movie, if I'm being completely fucking honest. Everything else about this movie I really fucking dig. Even the fact that like, the Alpha 10s are like remote controlled, like you can fucking own one of these. Now I want one. And because so much of the film was influenced by old school 1950s movies, and because you had Roger Corman involved in it, it feels like a 1950s film that's been stylized by the 80s. But being an 80s film, respecting those old 50s roots, it's not abandoning its core values. This isn't a movie that needed to complicate itself in any stretch of the imagination. They weren't trying to teach you something, it wasn't preachy, it wasn't up your own fucking ass. It literally was a movie about killer robots. And that's all that it had to be. If you're a fan of movies like Nightmare on Elm Street or The Burning or Slumber Party Massacre, you're gonna end up digging this film. It just has that vibe. It's in that pocket. And just the soundtrack itself, I can go on and on about the soundtrack. It's so fucking good. I'm in my chest the whole time. I'm watching this movie and I'm like kind of fucking body rocking, you know? I even thought that this would be my first negative video creep review, but I fucking loved it. I'm so excited to show this to a friend. I'm so excited to add it to my collection. And because of all of these great feelings, I'm gonna go ahead and say that this movie is dope as fuck. Again, a big thank you to Brandon Rhymes for buying a review from me. If you yourself are interested in buying a review, or if you just plain want to support my channel, go down to the description of this video. Send me an email if you want me to review something. Click that Patreon if you want to support me. And check out all the social media links that Video Creep is a part of. And of course, if you haven't already, please join my Facebook community, Coffin Grounds. It is poppin' as fuck all the time. And we need as many members who love horror as we can. Come chat it up with me, chat it up with Brad, chat it up with other people who fucking love horror. That's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for staying till the end. Of course, if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit the notification bell so that way you know when my next video is up. I will see you on the next video. Peace, video creeps.